We are back, and it looks like they have given the coveted role of Clark Kent, aka Superman, to David Corenswet. I think that's how you say his name. Now, James Gunn is at the helm here, and I had this weird gut feeling that they were gonna go with Nicholas Hoult or somebody that didn't exactly look like a young Henry Cavill, because he really just kind of looks like a 10-year younger Henry Cavill. And if that's what they were going for, fine. But I feel like if I was him, I'd always feel like I was in the shadow of Henry Cavill, at least with all the other people that have played Superman. They kind of have their own unique look, and they don't look like carbon copies. Any actor that was going to step into this role after Henry Cavill with all the controversy is going to have big, big red boots to fill. And I feel bad for any actor that's going to step in that role. I think James Gunn did a great job with the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. I wasn't really a fan of the Suicide Squad. I'm not really a fan of Peacemaker. And so there's a lot of jokey jokes. And that's something that I'm afraid might be in Superman Legacy, especially when you're hearing that they're going to have Crypto in there, the dog with the cape that flies around. Because then I start thinking about the Russian dog, the cosmonaut dog that's in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I'm like, is that what's coming? Is that what's coming? I don't know. But I'll be honest with you, with everything that's gone on with the DCU, I kind of feel pretty burnt out on it, not really looking forward to anything in the future. And I feel like once Aquaman comes out and Blue Beetle, if those tank as well, I just feel like the brand of DC, even though James Gunn is capable, I feel like the brand is so destroyed. That's why I feel bad for any actor that's stepping into the role. David Corenswet, he kind of looks like what I've been saying is, I hope James Gunn doesn't cast somebody that looks like they should be serving coffee at Starbucks. But here we are. Now, sure, they can put 25 pounds of muscle on the guy. They can jack him up with TRT or HGH or something like all the superhero guys do. In the end, I don't know, man. Like I feel like they're going to go for this kind of skinny version of Superman. But in the end, it is what it is. I just feel like I'm just so burnt out on all of it. All the controversy, all the films flopping left and right. I do feel that James Gunn kind of did a disservice to Henry Cavill. I've never been a Snyder cultist nut. I just felt like, same with Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh was a fine actor as Superman, although he didn't have blue eyes and had to wear those contacts, which kind of pulled me out of it. Every time I'd look at him, you could tell he just had the contact lenses in, and it just didn't feel right. Henry Cavill and Brandon Routh suffered from poor scripts. And I always said, once James Gunn came on board, if they just kept Gale and Ben and Henry and just gave them better scripts, they could rebound. A soft reboot. Go with the tone that you want. You want the happy Superman with all the bright colors? Go with it, but keep Henry around. Instead, I think what scared him was when Henry Cavill followed up his announcement with this interview where he was on stage being interviewed about Superman, and he said that he wanted control of writing, he wanted to be a producer on the film, he wanted to have a lot of input on the direction of where it's going, and wanted to give that Hope Superman a trilogy of those type of films, which had been greenlit for him. But James Gunn, I don't think he liked the idea of Henry Cavill having any kind of control. He wanted to control the narrative, control everything, do what he wanted to do, and he didn't want an actor to be in his way. Henry also expressed wanting to produce the film. And if you look at what he's done since, you know, he butted heads on The Witcher because they weren't being pure to the character and the material. Writers wanted to go do their thing. He'd reel them back. So he was done with that because he didn't want to keep fighting those writers. And then he goes on to do Warhammer, and he gets to executive produce and gets to be all involved with the story and making sure they're going to do it right and all that other kind of stuff. And that's what he wanted for Superman. And I think James Gunn was like, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. So I don't believe in my heart that James wanted a younger Superman. I believe he wanted control. And it was all about control. He wanted to make his movie and not have an actor tell him what to do. I think Henry Cavill will be very gracious, and he's probably going to let Dave Corenswet bask in the glow of being cast as Superman, and then maybe in a week put out a statement congratulating him and wishing him the best, because the thing about Henry Cavill is he's a class act. And I believe that that is what will transpire, because he truly loves the character of Superman. And anyway, that's my take on the situation, but also my take on Dave. I wish him the best, but it looks like DC's just going to keep on struggling. I feel like the brand is ruined, and they should have just put a pause for about 10 years on all of it. But the problem is Warner Brothers has an IP that they want to make money on, and it's called show business, and it's all about the business and not necessarily putting out quality work. So we'll see what happens. I wish Peter Safran and James Gunn the best, although I think how they've handled everything so far has not been very good with DC since they took over, with everything that went on with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, with the constant flops of Shazam and The Flash. And then we got 2 more that are going to completely fall on their faces, and you know, it's just going to keep continuing for the rest of 2024, ruining the brand. And I think the next Superman film, Superman Legacy, will probably come out to low box office. And they're going to have to build that trust back, that brand. It's going to take a long time, longer than James Gunn's contract.